Oh, baby, look at me. This is paying off, kind of. I don't know. I'm on the fence of just cutting the steering post in half. Pray that this works. That's better. And now I gotta repaint it black after I cleaned it all off. Back at it with a little bit more 1200 action for you guys here. If you take a look in the background, you can see you got the header all Cerakoted there. Elbird got on the gun yesterday and started spraying that thing. It came out really good. That's our first time messing with Cerakote because we can't find anyone local and used to have a guy, won't respond to text messages anymore, messed up a bunch of stuff on a buddy's thing. Whole big deal. So we said, you know what, we're gonna spray it ourselves and see how it goes. Pretty straightforward, super simple stuff. Sandblast it lightly. You don't want to go crazy with the abrasive because that stuff doesn't cover. It's not like a high build type coating. So real thin layer on that stuff. Yeah, I just used a little Harbor Freight gun, blasted it up, went over it with a red pad, took the MAP gas torch, burned all the oil out of it, heated it up a couple times, and then we sprayed it, let it air dry, and it's been almost 24 hours, so it's tack free at this point and will be fully cured in 5 days. So yeah, it came out really good. I'll flash in the clips of that and how, I guess the only really thing I have is Elbird spraying it. So I'll put some of that in right now. He's back in the element right there. Look at him go. The technique's coming back. He's flying. Trigger man. Pretty crazy. He got back into it. You know, it was a little slow in the beginning and then it started coming back to him and old boy was ripping towards the end there. So I'm pumped on that. I got to get that installed. Got a fresh gasket for the header side. We've got a fresh donut gasket for the muffler side. Along with that and puttering, along with that and messing around with the 1200 today. Got the ECU and cluster back from Jason over at In Due Time. Hand warmer stuff turned on at idle. He added some other stuff into the cluster in terms of, I think it's like the race features or X package features or something. No, it's already an X. Race package features. Tachometer is in increments of 10 instead of, I think, 100. So I don't really have crazy refinement with the PB80, but still turned on whatever we had in there. Big thing was the hand warmers. So now when we come to intersections and stuff, those will output, I think it's a maximum of 50% at idle across the board. Might be 60%, something along those lines, but at least they're not gonna just dead stop at idle now. So that'll be great, that's huge. I'm gonna do those things there, header back in, ECU, cluster. I've got a ton of different frog skin stuff here to go and redo venting and whatnot. Try to get rid of some of these SLP ones on here. I don't really like the look of them. They let a lot of snow dust in. I have the new lower panels as well for where your knees go, the black portions down on the belly pan, because those had vents as well, as you heard me complain about last year that were awful. I pulled them off and now there's just massive holes there. So along with getting some heat off of my feet and getting the ventilation redone, I've got a bunch of frog skins here to go and just pepper all over this thing and let some air in, let some air out. It's really tough this time of year to plan out videos, so I'm just kind of winging stuff as I go and I have time. And I film it, and then I put it all together after the fact. So I'm not sure the order of operations here, but we're working on that stuff. Lower side panels. We got the skunk build in the background, the skunk, we're calling it. I'll do a whole video breakdown introduction on that in the future. Yeah, that's back there. It's pretty cool, I'm excited about that one. I just keep throwing builds at myself and I don't have time, but that's enough rambling. Let me get this thing blown apart and we'll start getting the header back on and then we'll dig into ECU, cluster, and that stuff from there. Kind of reverse process of what we did last time when we pulled it all out, obviously. So let's get into it. In the previous video, when I pulled this apart, the ECU has a name and a phone number on here. I have not called the name and phone number. I probably won't. My luck, they'd say, oh, I want to buy it back, and they'd hound me forever about it. So I'm gonna leave that one unknown. Ow, prick. I'm like a DJ. Go it, ow! You hoe? Rude? What a rude dude, man. Big up to the Ruben. All right, I need to try and weasel this in here without scratching it all to hell. I remember it came out kind of tricky. But I don't remember my exact order of operaciones. But maybe we're just gonna breeze this thing right back in here. Nope. This stupid extreme bumper is really hosing me with these dumb brackets, but it's a decent bit of work to pull all that off of there. So we're just gonna keep trying different ways here. Do one of these. Try it this way. Oh, 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 oh. Ooh! Let's go! Bam! Oh, of course, I should have had that in way before this. That's really sick. I don't remember how I took this apart. Let's see how you like that. We'll get there someday. All right, everything's back together. Well, somewhat, right? I still have like little center console panel cover pieces and whatnot. I'm done with it for today. ECU's back in, gauge cluster's back in, header's on, all that stuff. Gonna go ahead and fire it up, make sure everything still runs and works, and turn the hand warmers way up, see if they start to get warm at idle. Yay! Cool. That's all I need to know. Beautiful. Yeah, they're pumping the heat out. Sick. I'm in the shop here puttering while I wait for UPS to show up with some stuff and pick up a couple other packages. So not necessarily to kill some time, but to kill some time and get some other stuff done, I'm going to go ahead and get the side panels, the lower side panels, swapped on the 1200. The previous owner had put some big vents right here. And as you can see, they kind of went nuts with the Swiss cheesing of the panel here. The vents were like big and they stuck up and they were really annoying. They tore your shins and they actually, one of the little plastic rivets put a little tear in the leg of my suit and a whole big thing. So I peeled those off. It was way more comfortable to ride, but then I had to look at this all the time. I added these ones because this thing makes a ton of heat and I got to get it out somehow. So I've got new panels. Well, one new old stock panel for this guy here. Wait, upside down there. I was like, oh boy. I'm gonna swap that over. I don't believe I'll be able to reuse any of this foam, which I don't really like this stuff anyway. This stuff with the heat tape isn't too bad, but like the foam, it just collects moisture and then it gets heavier, and this thing doesn't need to be any heavier. So I probably won't put any of this on. I'll probably just use some DEI, Design Engineering Ink or something like that. I don't remember what it stands for. Gold heat tape. I'll just heat tape the inside of the new panel. So that's what I'm gonna work on now. I'll time lapse, but you gotta drill these rivets out. They always spin, so you gotta hold the backside with pliers. And then I don't know if I can punch in on that, but there's washers back here and then re-rivet it all together with the washers. Looks like we got a couple of the little retainer washers here as well. Yeah, just plug away, swapping these lower panels so I don't have to look at this anymore. Some of this, apparently it should be getting pretty hot in here. Jeez. Plugging away, swapping the side panels over. We got them all drilled apart. All that stuff's going good. Thought I would dabble with this upper vent on the clutch side, and it's just a mess under here. Look at this. It's like painted, and then there's some sort of RTV type stuff. It's just a mess. I have a frog skin that I hope is big enough to cover this disaster under here. If not, I may have to put this one back on. I really don't want to, but Worst case Ontario, we'll put this one back on. So wish me luck. After about 8 to 10 minutes of scrubbing with a rag and some brake clean, we got the majority of it off. You can see up close here. Let's do one of these numbers, right? You can see there's some discoloration where I don't know if the paint ate into the plastic or maybe the brake clean took some of it off, but I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what that really is. It's like, it almost looks like a PVC glue, like that purple glue, but I don't think that's what it is. But either way, most of it's off. So now I can get my frog skin and see if that covers all of this. I now understand why Buddy painted that black under there. And unfortunately, I don't know everything, which is a bummer. Now I gotta tape all this off. And now I gotta repaint it black after I clean it all off. In fairness, I don't know why this is so fuzzy, probably the light above me. If I had tried to just paint over, right, because this is obviously bigger than what was on there, right? So if I tried to just paint over what was already painted, it probably, with my luck, would have reacted and got all messed up. So probably good that I cleaned it off. Bummer that I got to go through another step of taping that outline, taping the panel, scuffing it, shooting it, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, that's just the way it goes when you can't leave anything alone, you know, when you got to mess with it all the time. You're always doing stuff, tinkering, messing with this, messing with that. Pile of frog skin goodie. Frog's skin. What a botch job that was. It lets snow dust straight in, falls on the clutch. Well, I mean, clutch guard is there. Whoa, sharp skizzers. But I have had it do a little slipperatchy every once in a blue moon when we get into, ooh, dang it. Where is this for? That don't fit. PTO. Oh, designed to cover stock openings. What openings? This is probably for this is an XP, isn't it? Yeah, it's XP kit, and I just bought them because I was like, hopefully I can come up with something. Hopefully one of these will be close. This one's really close to covering all of them, but it looks goofy. I'm gonna have to run it and then so I'm probably gonna end up putting this guy here, and it's gonna cover these stupid holes and wrap up onto the top a little bit, but whatever. And then I'll put a little Christmas tree kind of push clip plug into this guy here. But they're like, what the, my OCD is gonna go nuts forever. What is this? That's bigger than that. Just do them all the same size. What are we doing here? Open up one more kit, see what we got. I don't know if UPS is showing up tonight. It's getting late. This guy's still not here. I hope he's all right. Fits this a little better. Oh, baby, look at me. This is paying off, kind of. That's going to be, ooh, how do we feel about that, though? I don't know which one's going to be better, because then I need 3 little Christmas tree push clips. We'll put that guy there, a little something like that. But then it doesn't line up with this body line. It doesn't line up with that body line, whereas if we do this, we can line it right up with that body line, which I think will bother my OCD less than this wrapping up here. I don't know. This definitely looks better, I think, than this. Yeah, because then if I don't use this, or if I do use this here, then I'm posing. Okay, I am back onto 1200 stuff here. No idea where we left off in the video from what I did to talking to this to that, whatever. So I'll zoom in. You can see I got a new light on the front. Denali Electronics. I experienced one of those on a customer sled last year. I'll flash in that clip of Davenport's RXC.
All right, high beam, boom. Big light, boom. That's sick. Dang!
Their stuff's incredible. So getting a little bit extra lighting on the 1200. So in addition to the wiring of the heated seat, I'll have that light in there too. More on that stuff later. But until then, I'm gonna do XS chassis, 2-stroke steering post, so I can move the post ahead and kind of correct my riser angle and the steering sweep and stuff. Normally, I do run the riser a little bit more aggressive, a little more forward, which I know some people hate when it's not lined up with the post. On the 1200, that is very bad. It's very exaggerated. Makes a sweep pretty goofy on this one. So only real solution to get the bars where I want them, height, location, and maintain a good sweep, is to do the post forward mod, which requires taking a 2-stroke post and adding an inch in here. I got ahead of myself and started cleaning up the wrong spot, so that's why this is all shiny. But yeah, we got to add an inch to right here before the bend. That gives this bend enough clearance on the cylinder head sensor and the airbox and all that stuff in there. So there's no real exact location other than just in this little flat section here, we got to add an inch. So luckily, I've got a random piece of scrap material that is the perfect ID to match the OD of this tube. So I'm going to cut it, sleeve it, plug weld it, butt weld, or not butt weld, but sleeve, weld the ends, weld some plugs, and that should be good to go. I think that's kind of the good rough descriptor of that. So I'm going to get into this, do some time-lapsey, cover whatever we got to do, and yeah, start blowing that apart, move the post, do the bars, different riser, get that all situated, and then we'll move on to probably the wiring, finish all that up. It also needs an oil change. I have some high gear torsion spring spacers for the back. What else? I might do slides on it. I got to see if Land Air and Essex has them. If they do, I'll do slides on it, get all that done, the whole thing done, ready to go for our first trip coming up in December. So let's get into the steering post debacle, cutting, measuring this, cutting that, off we go. All right, bam. So I have this marked out in a way that I think is gonna work. My 3-inch sleeve, put that bad boy on there, right? Mark the ends, mark the center, cut the shaft here, and then 1/2 inch in on each side from the end, right? 3, 1/2 inch, should be 1 inch of spread, which is the 1 inch gap I need, or a 1 inch. Some guys take a 1 inch slug, cut it, put one in and butt weld it, which is a little spooky to me. So that's why we're going with the sleeve. Hopefully the sleeve clears everything. I haven't pulled it apart to look in there to make sure that it will. I'm just gonna run with it. Enough to square right there. It is very snug. Ow. Can I have something this? Sick. All right, I'm marring my bench all up, but let's do this. Aha. You hoe. Oh, we buried it on that one. Oh yeah, we're getting there. Ah, sweet. A little ticky-tacky. Do a little buzz action. Should be good to go. Okay, let's see. We get something going here or what? There we go. That's better. post is all welded up. Got a couple coats of paint drying on here so I can swap that out in the morning. Maybe later, I don't know, we'll see. Let's go over here. So we got a bunch of wiring stuff all pulled out of the way. This big bracketry thing goes up here. Get that off of there. It was nice and out of the way, and then I just messed that all up. But yeah, tuck that over there. 10s, pull this little spacer out, plastic bracket off, blah, blah, blah. Take these 10s, handlebars off, tie rods down on the bottom, and then start fishing the post all the way up and out. I'll probably go ahead and put this hog on the lift and get it up. That way the tie rods are easier to get to, and keep plugging away with that. I don't know how much longer or how much more I'll do tonight, but we'll find out. Big, a very frustrating job with this steering post. With the header, you can't get the post out because obviously header things, and there's no clearance on the ECU bracket on this and stuff. I don't know how anyone on Dootalk back in the day did this without like pulling the whole ECU bracket and a load more wiring and not having a header. This sucks. I'm going with my gut and hoping that Dootalk was right and that the other post setup does fit, because I really don't want to pull the header back off. That's a real pain in the ass. I don't know. I'm on the fence of just cutting the steering post in half and then just sliding the new one in. But then with my luck, the new one won't fit in there either. I don't know. Why do I do this to myself, you know? Pray that this works. Yeah, not fun, dude. Not fun at all. I'll be in frame in a moment here. I did one test fit already, and it looks like this is going to fit and be just fine. Yeah, the previous owner oiled the living heck out of this steering stuff down the bottom, so it's gross. And the bushings didn't hold up. When you put crappy oil like that on them, I don't even know what it is, but it's some sort of spray stuff. The rubber swells up, and then the rubber goes bad, and it ever what, dude. So luckily, new post has new bushings. We're good to go there. I need to get my upper contraption, but I'm gonna fish the bottom in first, put the sled back up, and then do that. Yeah, there's like no way with a header to get that tube out. That bend in it is just crazy. Yeah, and then if you were to slide it out of here, I don't know what you would do with all this contraption stuff back here. I kind of wish I had known that I had to just cut it earlier and that I wouldn't have pulled the tank. I wouldn't have pulled the ECU again. I wouldn't have redone a lot of this stuff. I would have just chopped the post and pulled it right out and then set the new one in. But that's the way it goes. Our mood's coming back. Our mood is coming back. We're coming back a little bit. Yeah, not gonna lie to you. That tilted me a little bit. That got me tilted. Honestly, what really tilted me was earlier I tripped over a ski. I was in here trying to move handlebars and stuff, and I tripped over a ski and almost went down. And that me off. All right, I'm smoked. Lost my hat even. It's over there on the bench. I almost threw that thing too. Post is in, center console stuff is mostly wrapped back up. I gotta, go over all the wiring stuff and refine all that, make sure I like all the routing and everything. Think I've got it where I want it. I'm not sure what riser combination and stuff till I get the seat on and panels and everything back on and test fit all that stuff. But the post is in. I'll flip the camera around here and I'll show you the clearances on stuff. And yeah, got not necessarily lucky, but the stuff on Dootalk and everything about adding an inch and using the 2-stroke post and all that was correct. This is gonna work. So cutting the post in half did pay off, thankfully. So you can see we got our post in, all that stuff clears down in there, header-wise, not even close there. Cam sensor is the only spot where it's a little tight. I'm assuming it may be a little tight on the airbox, but should be good. We got pretty good clearance everywhere on the cam sensor. Full sweep, side to side, all that good stuff. Good to go. So yeah, I mean, the majority of the work is done in terms of like the hardest part, I guess. I'm even just gonna leave tools out. Normally I reset, put everything away, but I'm tired, I'm smoked. I'm out of here for the night. We'll pick this back up tomorrow. It's a new morning, new day, new vibes. Vibes are high. Let's keep going, putting the 1200 back together. If you're gonna do this whole thing and your post is modified correctly, your new one, your two-stroke one, cut the old one out. Don't bother pulling all that other stuff, way too much work. Just chop it in half and pull it out in 2 pieces. You'll be way happier doing that than being me, pulling all that apart and swearing and smashing your finger and all that good stuff that I did last night. So, pro tip. I'm now realizing that I didn't do a before and after like side shot of the angles of stuff, but it's definitely way better than it was. It's still like, you know, one of these numbers with the post and the riser, which is fine. That doesn't fully bother me. The sweep is way more natural, feels way better sitting on the sled, moving all around. We ended up with this 4-inch fly riser here with the post forward and all that. Not exactly sure how this compares directly to like a stock 2-stroke post move forward because it's modified and extended and stuff. So I don't know, but this feels really good. Put this RSI big handlebar pad back on here in case I end up eating that at some point. That might save me a little bit. That kind of wraps this whole side up. The wiring routed really good. That's all sweet. I got to do some little bit of like zip tie retaining and stuff under there. Now that the riser stuff is pretty much done, I got to tighten all these up for good here. I'm going to sit on there, make some noises and move around a little bit and make sure it's exactly where I want it. And then I'll tighten those up later tonight or tomorrow. But now I'm going to move on to wiring up my new Denali Electronics DL6 Light. Those things are really sweet. Like I touched on before, I used one of these or experienced one of these last year on Davenport's Catalyst 600, if any of you guys remember that video. He had a DL7, big round one. We're going with this 6 little rectangular one because it fits in the cutout of the bumper really good. So I've done some calculations and stuff and looked up wattage, or not wattage, looked up amperage draws on stock bulbs compared to LEDs and all that stuff. Tapping into the high beam signal and running our LED bulbs in the factory headlight on high and the DL6 off of the same circuit is 1.2 to almost 2 full amps less of a draw than just the stock halogen bulbs. So depending on what bulbs are in the headlight here, which I didn't put those in, whoever owned this before did, depending on what's in there, we're anywhere from 1 to 2 amps less overall draw on the system, even with the DL6 wired into the same circuit. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead, pull this apart in here, find the high beam wire, which I think there's a pigtail connector back down in here for when you do the factory auxiliary light. I think there's one in there. So I'm gonna pull this apart, find that, tap into that, run some wires, do this, do that, solder stuff, get that working, and then we'll be on to doing the heated seat thing. I had a lot of ambition to redo the heated seat wiring, really nice, and that ambition's kind of fading a little bit. So I may just go over the relay setup that's there, clean that up, make sure that's all good to go, and then kind of just plug that back in so that I can move on to other stuff because I am still just slammed in here. And I'm trying to get my own stuff ready and do things reasonably, right? Like, yeah, it would be great to redo all that, but do I need to? Probably not. So we'll see how that goes, how the motivation is as we get through the headlight wiring and whatnot. But let's get on to that wiring. Couple quick T25s, pull this upper headlight pod thinger off of there. There is indeed a pigtail here. I don't know, I got a little confused. It's accessory power. So I could do something there, but also, wait a minute, hang on. We got other things in here. What in the world? So there's another adapter. Yeah, the other guy, he was just tapping into stuff left and right, running wires all over. So we just got a live accessory power wire chilling out in here with a ground. And then another Metropack GT150 2-pin right here. I'm gonna redo this because this is hokey and so we're gonna basically get rid of this jumper bundle that some dude made and have just the one Metropack to the 2 male or female spades to go to the 12-volt charger here, which I didn't even know I had, never really looked in there enough to see that. They got it tucked away pretty good. So then, I'll put this back on the sled, get my little test light, and just jumper down here to the connectors that are easy to get to for the headlight, figure out which wire is my high beam, and then I will probably do that plugs into this. I'm pondering the orb. I have all those connectors and whatnot on hand, so I'm probably gonna do something tapping into the power right there on that connector under the hood, the one that kind of feeds in right here by the gauge cluster, and then run the wires down along the pyramid frame out to the front, do that. Should be pretty simple. this guy here, probably go cut some of this back, and then instead of trying to put another terminal on and jamming a bunch more wires in here, which won't really fit in the cavity, I'll strip this back, I'll solder my power wire onto it, and then run it down through here along the frame and up to the front, and do something like that. And then I'll probably just ground the light right to the frame, some hardware bolt down in there, nut bolt contraption down in there, and then that'll pretty much be done. And then worst case Ontario, it'll pop a fuse for the high beam or the lights or whatever, and then I won't have any lights, and I'll know, oh dang, that popped a fuse, and then I'll just unplug it down here. So, easy peasy. There you go. Little service loop, same connector, new pins, new cavity seal, little DR25, good to go. I don't really feel like de-pinning this entire connector to slide heat shrink on I say that, but now I might, no, because I'd have to put a service loop in it and it's not gonna be long enough, whole big thing. I'm gonna tape it, and I'm gonna try not to kick my own ass for doing this, but that's the way it goes. I hate doing this move right here, but sometimes you just have to do it. The only good thing about this is that it's going to be up here far enough away from heat and whatnot to where it probably won't mess the adhesive in the tape up and make it all slimy and gross, but it might still, you never know, ever what. Forgot to turn the camera on for the start up there. Woo! That's it. We got plenty of light now. The hand warmers are cranking. Oh. You love to see a plan come together, you know? Hell yeah. Let's go. A little bit of temperature in the old girl. Blast the hood off, probably blast the muffler off, and then do the oil change and get that done and out of the way. So, fun fact, if the sled's on the lift and it's tipped back ever so slightly, when the oil gets, towards the end of draining, it will then hit the belly pan and thus this really stupid, awful skid plate and run all the way through the back of it all out behind the drain pan that was originally here. And now we have a nice lake of oil on the floor, which is awesome. Please stop with belly pans. And I don't know how much is in the actual under tray of the engine compartment, so it's gonna drip and leak forever. The convenience of being on the lift just bit me in the ass. So we are at about all of 15, 20 minutes later. There's probably half a quart in the belly pan. I was on the phone paying for parts, and then Elbert came in and said, hey, you're missing your drain pan, and I turn around and it's just everywhere. And yeah, I gotta punch a hole in the belly pan now to try and get it out because it's not gonna get out of the bulkhead. Super sick after I don't even know how long of degreasing and hosing, and I drilled a couple holes in the whole belly pan to let oil out and water out, and then I gotta seal those back up once everything's dry in like 2 weeks. This is where it's gonna sit for the night so that hopefully all the mess can continue to drain out, and then I'll clean the floor again in the morning and then finish the oil change, check the level, and then go on to vents, and something there will probably go wrong too. But you know what? That's the way it goes. So, see you in the morning. Everything else I've been doing in this video aside, I'm checking over the rear suspension here because I had this left front torque arm bolt kept loosening up. The nut kept loosening on our last ride up in Canada on that big saddlebag one. And I don't really know exactly why. It kind of looks like the bushing is pretty worn. So I start checking over the skid, checking over the A-arms, all that maintenance, pre-season type stuff. For some reason I had it in my head that this had oil light bushings in the front. It does not. The plastic ones are cooked. So I gotta order up oil light bushings for this along with Dad's new 1200. Also, there's just all kinds of worn out bushings. The rocker arm bushings are toast. The shock eyelet bushings are not great. The link or torque rod bushings are smoked. It's almost just like the Assault all over again, where like every suspension bushing is cooked. This thing has 8,000 miles on it. No idea history if stuff has been done or not. But yeah, I'm just getting burnt on replacing bushings and idler wheel bearings. And I mean, the problem with having this many sleds is that you get hosed on maintenance. It is expensive. So now I gotta go and order all kinds of bushings and stuff from there for this. The only stuff I really find worth putting in is everything from Mainway Solutions, Val up in Canada. So I got to order all that. Hopefully I don't get hammered on tariffs like I did on a bunch of other stuff from Canada. That's getting really old too. So that's going to wind out this video here. I'm going to end it on that. Upcoming or next video on the 1200, we'll be doing all the bushings in the rear skid. I'm going to have to do sliders while it's out because I'm in there. I'm just going to do them and have them done, make sure all the idlers are good. I'm like, do I just pull the shocks and send the shocks to Andy too at the same time? I don't know. I'm probably just going to run those because the budget's getting this thin already, and YouTube, their new algorithm sucks. We're getting hosed. More on that later as well. But yeah, just fun maintenance stuff. So yeah, well, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. All that good stuff. Let's go.